Ladies and gentlemen, life often feels like a relentless test, pushing us to the edge of our abilities, our patience, and sometimes our hope. But hidden within those trials are clues, markers of your strength. These signs don't just whisper your resilience, they shout your capacity to rise above, to endure, and to create meaning in the chaos. Strength isn't loud or obvious, it's subtle, rooted in the choices you make when no one is watching. It's the quiet resolve to stand when the world tells you to kneel. Facing adversity is one of the most profound tests of human character. It's where the ideals we hold about ourselves, our courage, our resilience, our fortitude are truly put to the test. Adversity doesn't announce itself politely. It crashes into our lives, tearing away the illusions we've constructed about safety and control. But it's precisely in these moments of rupture that we find the seeds of transformation. We have a choice when faced with hardship, to crumble under its weight or to rise, not because it's easy, but because rising is necessary. What does it mean to face adversity with grace? It doesn't mean suppressing your pain or pretending that everything is fine. That's denial, not strength. True grace under pressure is about acknowledging the magnitude of what you're facing while refusing to let it define you. It's about holding the line between chaos and order, between despair and hope. This is no small task. It requires a profound commitment to yourself and to the values you uphold. It demands a willingness to confront not just the external challenge, but also the internal turmoil that comes with it. Adversity has a strange way of revealing truths we would rather not see. It strips away pretense, exposing the raw, unvarnished reality of who we are. For some, this is a terrifying prospect, and understandably so. We often construct elaborate narratives about our lives, painting ourselves as heroes or victims, depending on the situation. Adversity, however, doesn't care about our stories. It reveals the gaps between who we think we are and who we truly are. And while this can be uncomfortable, it's also a profound gift. Because once you see those gaps, you have the opportunity to close them. You can become the person you've always aspired to be, not through wishful thinking, but through deliberate action. It's easy to talk about resilience in abstract terms, but the reality is that it's forged in the crucible of struggle. Every time you choose to confront adversity head-on, you're strengthening that part of yourself that refuses to back down. You're building a reservoir of courage that you can draw from in future battles. And make no mistake, there will be future battles. Life doesn't offer us a reprieve from hardship, it offers us the tools to endure it. The question isn't whether you'll face challenges, but how you'll respond when you do. Facing adversity with grace also means understanding the role of perspective. Often we're so consumed by the immediacy of our pain that we lose sight of the bigger picture. But every setback, every loss, every moment of despair has the potential to teach us something valuable. It's not that suffering is inherently good or noble. That would be a cruel oversimplification. But suffering can be meaningful if we allow it to be. It can deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It can cultivate empathy and compassion, both for ourselves and for others, and it can remind us of what truly matters. One of the most challenging aspects of adversity is the isolation it often brings. When we're in the midst of struggle, it's easy to feel as though we're alone, as though no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. But this is an illusion. Adversity is a universal experience. Everyone at some point has faced their own battles. And while the specifics may differ, the underlying emotions, the fear, the doubt, the pain are remarkably similar. Recognizing this shared humanity can be a source of comfort and strength. It reminds us that we're not alone, even when it feels like we are. Grace under pressure is also about maintaining your integrity, even when it's difficult. It's about refusing to compromise your values, even when doing so would make life easier in the short term. This is perhaps one of the greatest challenges of all, because adversity has a way of testing our moral compass. It tempts us to cut corners, to take shortcuts, to abandon our principles in the name of expediency. But true strength lies in resisting that temptation. It lies in staying true to yourself, even when the path is difficult and uncertain. It's important to remember that facing adversity with grace doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Seeking support is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. We're social creatures wired for connection. Reaching out to others in times of need is not just beneficial, it's essential. It allows us to draw on the collective strength of our communities, to share our burdens, and to find solace in the knowledge that others care for us. Ultimately, Facing adversity with grace is about transformation. It's about taking the raw materials of your struggle and using them to build something stronger, something better. It's about emerging from the storm not just intact, but renewed. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, one that requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the discomfort of growth. But the rewards are worth it. Because when you face adversity with grace, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're proving to yourself and to the world that you have what it takes to overcome, to endure, and to rise again. Strength is not simply the ability to endure, it is the capacity to adapt, to grow, and to face challenges with the kind of resolve that transforms adversity into opportunity. Strength is forged in moments of doubt and difficulty, in times when the easy path would be to retreat, to fold inward, to shy away from the challenge. But the individuals who embody true strength, the ones who shape their own futures and inspire those around them, understand that retreat is not an option. They step forward, not because it's easy, but because they know it's necessary. They know that their strength is not just for themselves, it's for those who look up to them, those who depend on them, those whose lives are touched by their courage. Strength is also deeply connected to a sense of purpose. Without purpose, strength has no direction. It becomes aimless, fleeting, and hollow. A strong person is someone who has grappled with the fundamental questions of existence. Who am I? What do I stand for? What am I willing to fight for? These are not trivial questions. They require deep introspection, the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and the resolve to align one's actions with one's values. When a person commits to living with purpose, their strength takes on a clarity and focus that becomes unshakable. They become a force to be reckoned with, not because they seek to dominate, but because they are guided by something greater than themselves. Strength is not the absence of vulnerability. On the contrary, it is the ability to remain open in the face of uncertainty, pain, and fear. A truly strong person does not hide from their emotions. They do not suppress their fears or pretend they are invulnerable. Instead, they confront these feelings head-on, acknowledging their humanity without allowing those emotions to define them. Strength lies in balancing vulnerability with resolve and facing life's challenges without losing one's sense of self. This kind of balance is not easy to achieve, but it is essential for anyone who wishes to live authentically and with integrity. Another key aspect of strength is the willingness to take responsibility. Weakness often hides behind excuses, blame, and avoidance, but strength steps forward and says, "This is my responsibility. I may not have caused this situation, but I am accountable for how I respond to it." Taking responsibility does not mean bearing every burden alone. It means recognizing that your choices, your actions, and your mindset have a profound impact on your life and the lives of those around you. It means understanding that no one else can live your life for you, and no one else can make your decisions. When you take responsibility, you reclaim your power. You become an active participant in your own life, rather than a passive victim of circumstance. Strength also demands discipline. It's not enough to have good intentions or lofty aspirations. Those be backed by consistent effort and commitment. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the daily practice of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing long-term growth over short-term gratification, and understanding that the rewards of discipline far outweigh its challenges. Discipline is not restrictive, it's liberating. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency and gives you the structure needed to pursue your goals with confidence and determination. A strong person is someone who has learned to navigate relationships with both empathy and boundaries. They understand that connection is essential, but they also recognize the importance of protecting their own well-being. They do not allow themselves to be taken advantage of, nor do they use their strength to manipulate or control others. Instead, they seek to build relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. They know that strength is not about domination, but about partnership and collaboration. They use their strength to uplift others, to create spaces where growth and healing can occur, and to foster relationships that are meaningful and enduring. Perhaps the most inspiring aspect of strength is its capacity to inspire others. When you witness someone who faces life's challenges with courage, resilience, and grace, it has a ripple effect. It encourages those around them to rise to their own challenges, to believe in their own ability to overcome adversity. Strength is not a solitary endeavor, it is a gift that radiates outward, touching the lives of others in ways that are often unseen but deeply felt. Strong people create a legacy not by accumulating power or wealth, but by living in a way that inspires others to be their best selves. It's important to remember that strength is not static. It is not something you achieve once and then possess forever. It is a dynamic quality, one that must be cultivated and renewed over time. Life will test your strength in ways you cannot anticipate, and each challenge will require you to adapt and grow. But each time you rise to meet those challenges, you become stronger. You develop a deeper understanding of yourself and your capabilities. You learn that strength is not about being unbreakable, but about being willing to rebuild yourself again and again in the face of life's inevitable trials. True strength is transformative. It's not about projecting an image of perfection or invulnerability. It's about embracing your humanity with all its flaws and contradictions and choosing to rise above them. It's about living with purpose, integrity, and compassion and inspiring others to do the same. It's about facing life with a sense of responsibility and discipline while remaining open to growth and connection. And above all, it's about understanding that strength is not something you have, it's something you become. A strong person is marked by their ability to confront reality with unflinching honesty. There is something profoundly transformative about facing the truth, even when it is harsh, uncomfortable, or challenging. It is the ability to look at life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be, that sets the foundation for genuine strength. Those who choose to live in denial, clinging to illusions or avoiding the truth, are ultimately held captive by their fears. But those who muster the courage to acknowledge the full complexity of reality, its beauty, its suffering, its unpredictability, find themselves standing on solid ground. They build their lives not on fantasy, but on the unshakable foundation of what is real. Facing reality does not mean accepting it passively. It is not a call to resignation or despair. Instead, it is a call to action, a challenge to rise above circumstances and create something meaningful in the midst of chaos. To face reality is to recognize the limitations and challenges of the human condition while still choosing to act with purpose and conviction. It is the ability to acknowledge the presence of suffering and yet commit oneself to alleviating it, not just for oneself, but for others as well. This is no small task. It requires strength, resilience, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of change. A strong person understands that reality often presents us with paradoxes. There are times when opposites coexist, where pain and joy, hope and despair, order and chaos all intertwine. It takes strength to hold these contradictions without being overwhelmed by them. To face reality is to accept that life is not black and white, that human beings are flawed and complex, and that the world we inhabit is filled with uncertainty. It is this acceptance, paradoxically, that allows us to find clarity. By embracing complexity, we move closer to truth. By acknowledging the gray areas, we make room for growth, understanding, and compassion. Living in alignment with reality also requires humility. It demands that we set aside our ego, our need to always be right, and our tendency to control outcomes. A strong person does not cling to rigid beliefs or insist on their way at all costs. Instead, they remain open to learning, adapting, and evolving. They understand that no single perspective captures the entirety of truth, and that wisdom comes from listening, observing, and reflecting. Humility is not a sign of weakness, it is a hallmark of strength. It is the recognition that we are all works in progress, that we all have more to learn, and that we all rely on one another to navigate the complexities of life. A strong person also knows that facing reality requires boundaries. Not everything and everyone has a rightful claim to your energy, your or your emotional investment. Strength is found in the ability to say no when necessary, to protect what is sacred, and to prioritize what truly matters. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. It is the understanding that your capacity to give, to contribute, and to care for others is directly tied to how well you care for yourself. Setting boundaries is not about building walls, it is about creating spaces where growth, authenticity, and connection can flourish. Facing reality also means taking responsibility for your life. It is recognizing that while you can't control every circumstance, you are always responsible for your response. This is an empowering realization. It shifts the focus from what is outside your control to what is within it. A strong person does not waste energy lamenting what cannot be changed. Instead, they focus on what they can influence: their mindset, their choices, their actions. They understand that responsibility is not a burden, it is a privilege. It is the opportunity to shape one's own destiny, to contribute meaningfully to the world, and to live with integrity. In the face of adversity, a strong person does not retreat into despair or cynicism. They confront challenges with courage and determination, knowing that growth often emerges from struggle. They do not see failure as a verdict on their worth, but as a lesson, a stepping stone on the path to mastery. This resilience is not born of naivety or blind optimism. It is rooted in the deep understanding that life is a series of trials and triumphs, and that strength is cultivated through perseverance. The ability to keep moving forward, even in the face of setbacks, is what separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. Strength is also deeply intertwined with gratitude. To face reality is to recognize the gifts it holds, even amidst hardship. It is to see beauty in the ordinary, to find joy in small moments, and to appreciate the people and experiences that make life meaningful. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is present, from scarcity to abundance. It reminds us that even in the midst of struggle, there is much to be thankful for. A strong person cultivates gratitude not as a fleeting emotion, but as a way of life, a lens through which they view the world. The strength to face reality is a choice. It is a decision to engage fully with life, to confront its challenges and embrace its possibilities. It is a commitment to live authentically with purpose and integrity, no matter what the circumstances may be. This choice is not always easy, but it is always worth it. For in facing reality, we discover our capacity for resilience, for growth, and for creating meaning in a complex and uncertain world. And in doing so, we inspire others to do the same. Strength is deeply rooted in our capacity to hold ourselves accountable. To be a strong person is to understand, at the most fundamental level, that we are architects of our own lives. This doesn't mean that we are in control of everything. Life is far too complex, too unpredictable for such illusions. But it does mean that within the scope of our own actions, decisions, and responses, we possess immense power. Accountability is the bedrock upon which personal growth and resilience are built. It is the recognition that while external forces may influence us, our response is always within our grasp, and in that response lies the seed of transformation. Accountability begins with self-awareness. To hold yourself accountable, you must first see yourself clearly, without the filters of denial or self-deception. This is not an easy task. It requires courage to confront the parts of yourself that you would rather ignore: your flaws, your insecurities, your failures. But there is no strength without this honesty. To grow stronger, you must first identify where you are weak. To become more capable, you must first acknowledge where you have fallen short. Accountability is not about shame, it is about clarity. It is about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "This is who I am, and this is where I have work to do." When you embrace accountability, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance. This doesn't mean denying the reality of hardship or injustice. It means refusing to let those things define you. Life is filled with challenges, some of them deeply unfair, but strength lies in your ability to rise above them. It lies in taking ownership of your role in shaping your life, even when the odds are against you. Accountability is the antidote to helplessness. It shifts your focus from what is beyond your control to what is within it. It empowers you to act, to take steps forward, no matter how small, in the direction of your goals and values. Accountability also requires discipline. It is not enough to recognize what needs to change. You must also commit to the hard work of making that change happen. This often means choosing short-term discomfort for the sake of long-term growth. It means holding yourself to a standard even when it's inconvenient or difficult. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about consistency. It is about showing up for yourself day after day and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Strength is not found in fleeting moments of effort. It is forged in the sustained commitment to your own development. An accountable person does not blame others for their mistakes. They do not deflect responsibility or make excuses. Instead, they own their actions and their consequences. This is not an easy thing to do. It requires humility to admit when you are wrong and integrity to make amends, but this willingness to take responsibility is what earns trust and respect from others. It shows that you are not afraid to confront the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It shows that you value honesty over ego, growth over pride. Accountability is not a weakness, it is a mark of strength. At the same time, accountability is not about carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It is not about taking responsibility for things that are beyond your control or for the actions of others. There is a balance to be struck. A strong person knows where their responsibility ends and someone else's begins. They understand that while they can influence others, they cannot control them. Accountability is about focusing on what you can change, your own thoughts, behaviors, and choices, and letting go of what you cannot. It is about finding that line and standing firmly on your side of it. When you hold yourself accountable, you also give yourself the gift of agency. You recognize that you are not merely a passive observer of your life, but an active participant in it. This agency is deeply empowering. It allows you to see challenges as opportunities for growth, failures as lessons, setbacks as stepping stones. It reminds you that no matter how difficult things may seem, you always have a choice. You can choose how you respond, how you move forward, and how you create meaning in your life. Accountability is not just about individual strength, it is also about connection. When you hold yourself accountable, you set an example for others. You show them what it means to live with integrity, to take responsibility for your actions, and to strive for something better. This can inspire others to do the same. It creates a ripple effect, spreading strength and resilience beyond yourself. Accountability is not a solitary endeavor, it is a contribution to the collective good. It is a way of saying I am willing to do my part, not just for myself, but for those around me. Accountability is about freedom. It is about liberating yourself from the chains of blame, denial, and victimhood. It is about stepping into your own power and taking ownership of your life. This is not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one. It is a path that leads to growth, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. It is a path that allows you to look back on your life and say, I did my best. I took responsibility. I lived with strength and integrity, and there is no greater freedom than that. To live authentically requires a kind of courage that is both rare and demanding. It is not simply about being true to yourself in a superficial sense, but embracing the depth and complexity of who you are with honesty and integrity. Authenticity is not a costume you put on to gain approval, or a shield you wield to protect yourself from criticism. It is an unyielding commitment to align your actions, thoughts, and values with your truest self, regardless of how the world reacts. This commitment is the cornerstone of strength because it roots you in a foundation that cannot be easily shaken by external forces. The path to authenticity begins with self-exploration. To live authentically, you must first understand yourself, and this is no simple task. It requires peeling back layers of conditioning, expectations, and societal pressures to discover what truly matters to you. This process is uncomfortable because it often reveals truths that challenge your preconceived notions about who you are and what you want. But it is in this discomfort that growth happens. The act of self-discovery is a confrontation with your fears, your limitations, and your desires, and through that confrontation, you become more attuned to your own essence. Once you have glimpsed your authentic self, the next step is to live in alignment with it. This is where the real challenge lies. The world is filled with voices telling you who you should be, how you should act, and what you should strive for. These voices are persuasive, and it takes immense strength to resist them. Authenticity often requires standing apart from the crowd, and there is a profound loneliness in that. It means saying no when others expect you to say yes. It means choosing a path that may not be understood or supported by those around you. But in doing so, you claim ownership of your life. You declare that your choices, your values, and your journey belong to you alone. Living authentically also requires a willingness to face rejection. Not everyone will accept you as you are, and some may even challenge or criticize you for being different. This is one of the greatest tests of strength because the desire to belong is deeply ingrained in us. Yet, authenticity demands that you prioritize your integrity over the approval of others. It is about having the courage to say, this is who I am, and I will not compromise that for the sake of acceptance. This doesn't mean being rigid or unyielding. It means being true to your principles while remaining open to growth and change. There's also a profound vulnerability in living authentically. When you present yourself as you truly are, without pretense or self, you expose yourself to the possibility of being hurt. People may judge, dismiss, or misunderstand you, but it is through this vulnerability that you connect with others on a deeper level. Authenticity invites genuine relationships built on trust and mutual respect. When you are willing to be seen for who you are, you create space for others to do the same. This is where true strength lies, not in putting up walls, but in opening yourself up, even when it feels risky. Authenticity is not static. It is an ongoing process. Who you are today is not who you will be tomorrow, and that is a good thing. Growth is a natural part of life, and living authentically means embracing that evolution. It means being honest about your mistakes, your failures, and your shortcomings, and using them as opportunities to learn and improve. Authenticity is not about perfection. It is about being real. It is about accepting yourself as a work in progress and having the humility to admit that you don't have all the answers. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is its ability to inspire others. When you live authentically, you give those around you permission to do the same. Your courage to be yourself becomes a beacon showing others that it is possible to live with integrity and purpose. This is especially important in a world that often rewards conformity and punishes individuality. By standing firm in your authenticity, you challenge the status quo and create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. Living authentically is not easy, and it is not always comfortable, but it is worth it. It allows you to look in the mirror and see someone you respect. It gives your life meaning because it is lived according to your own values, not someone else's. And it brings a sense of peace, knowing that you are not pretending to be someone you're not. This peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of alignment, a harmony between who you are and how you live. Authenticity is about freedom. It is about liberating yourself from the expectations and judgments of others and embracing the truth of who you are. This freedom is not given to you. It is claimed through the choices you make every day. It is claimed in the moments when you choose honesty over deception, courage over fear, and integrity over compromise. And it is in this freedom that you find the strength to live a life that is uniquely your own. Strength is not about dominance or control, it is about service and responsibility. To be truly strong is to understand that your actions ripple outward, affecting not only your own life, but the lives of those around you. Strength is rooted in a profound sense of responsibility, not just for your own well-being, but for the well-being of others. It is the willingness to take on burdens, to stand firm in the face of adversity, and to strive towards something greater than yourself. This is not an easy path, but it is the one that leads to meaning and fulfillment. Responsibility begins with a recognition of your own agency. You are not a passive participant in your life, you are an active creator of it. This realization is both liberating and daunting. It means that your choices matter. It means that the direction of your life is, to a large extent, within your control. But with this power comes the burden of accountability. You cannot blame your circumstances or other people for the state of your life. You must own your decisions, your actions, and their consequences. This is the essence of responsibility, to take ownership of your life and to act in a way that aligns with your values and aspirations. To live with responsibility is to understand that your life is not just about you. It is about the roles you play and the people who depend on you. Whether you are a parent, a partner, a friend, or a colleague, your actions have a direct impact on others. This is both a privilege and a duty. It means showing up for the people in your life, even when it is difficult. It means being someone they can rely on, someone who brings stability and strength to their world. This is not about perfection, it is about effort. It is about striving to be better, not just for your sake, but for the sake of those who count on you. Responsibility also requires a willingness to confront challenges head-on. Life is filled with difficulties, and there is no avoiding them. But the strongest among us are those who face these challenges with courage and determination. They do not shy away from hardship, they embrace it as an opportunity to grow and to contribute. Strength is not found in avoiding pain, but in enduring it and emerging stronger on the other side. This is the paradox of responsibility. The more you take on, the stronger you become. It is through carrying your burdens that you discover your capacity for resilience and growth. Another aspect of responsibility is the ability to make sacrifices. To live responsibly often means putting the needs of others above your own desires. It means giving up immediate gratification for the sake of long-term goals. This is not about denying yourself happiness, but about understanding that true happiness comes from living a life of purpose and meaning. It is about making choices that align with your highest values, even when those choices are difficult. Sacrifice is not a loss, it is an investment in something greater than yourself. Responsibility also involves integrity. To be responsible is to be honest, reliable, and consistent. It is about doing what you say you will do and living in accordance with your principles. This requires a deep level of self-awareness and self-discipline. It means holding yourself to a high standard even when no one is watching. Integrity is the foundation of trust, and trust is essential for any meaningful relationship. When you live with integrity, you not only strengthen your own character, but also inspire trust and respect in others. Perhaps the most profound aspect of responsibility is its ability to give your life meaning. When you take on responsibility, you become part of something larger than yourself. You contribute to the world in a way that only you can. This is what makes life worth living, not the pursuit of pleasure or the avoidance of pain, but the knowledge that your life has purpose. Responsibility ties you to the world and to the people in it. It reminds you that your life matters, not just to you, but to those who depend on you. Responsibility is not always easy, and it is not always rewarded. There will be times when it feels like a heavy burden, and you may wonder if it is worth it. But it is in those moments that your strength is truly tested. Strength is not about never feeling weak. It is about continuing to move forward, even when the weight feels unbearable. It is about holding on to the belief that your efforts matter, that your sacrifices are meaningful, and that your actions can make a difference. In the end, responsibility is not just a duty, it is a privilege. It is an opportunity to shape your life and to contribute to the lives of others. It is a chance to create a legacy that extends beyond your own existence. When you live with responsibility, you align yourself with the highest ideals of what it means to be human. You become a source of strength and stability in a world that desperately needs both. And in doing so, you discover the true depth of your own capacity for greatness. Strength is not a fleeting quality, but a profound commitment to responsibility, integrity, and purpose. It is the willingness to face challenges, embrace growth, and make sacrifices for something greater than oneself. A strong person is not defined by the absence of weakness, but by their courage to persevere, their dedication to live with meaning, and their determination to uplift others. By shouldering responsibility and living in alignment with values, one not only transforms their own life, but becomes a beacon of stability and hope in a world yearning for it. This is the essence of true strength, a life lived with purpose and impact.